All right, so you want to buy a house. Here's what you got to do. First of all, you got to hire an inspector. Got to make sure that home's all good. Second, you want to meet with the seller and agree on a price. It's always a must do. Third, get approved for a mortgage. Now, in this case, we are assuming that you have infinite money, right? But you're choosing to get approved for a mortgage instead. And fourth, and finally, you have to get the paperwork done to sign the deal, right? For this case, we're going to make a few assumptions, such as you having no competitors, right? And the house is all in good condition. And again, you basically have infinite money, right? So, what financial steps do you take to purchase the home? Here's Ryan Flick to explain.
Hi, I'm Ryan. And the first most asked question is, what financial steps should you take before making an offer? First, you want to check your credit score, debt to income ratio, and your savings. With median house prices well above $400,000, lenders want proof that you can handle the payments and that you're trustworthy. If your credit score is under $600,000, you could see up to a 10% higher down payment and around a 1% higher interest rate. A good strategy is to pay off high interest debt and make more payments on your credit card to drive your score up. You also want to get pre-approved for your mortgage because this shows sellers that you're serious and qualified.
All right, so you want to figure out how much you want to pay for it, right? You're going to start with 3 simple steps, right? First is CMA, or competitive market analysis. Basically, you're going to look at the market, houses in the similar region, right? That are about the same as that one, right? So if those houses are are really expensive, you might have to pay a lot of money for this one. Houses are not that expensive. You probably aren't going to have to throw that high of an offer at them for them to accept it, right? Number 2, take a look at the market trends. So you may say the houses in the area are getting more and more expensive over time. You're going to have to bump that price up. But if houses in the area are getting less and less expensive over time, you might be able to get away with lowballing them. All right. And number 3 is, and finally, how long has the house been on the market? Sellers have to get the house off their hands at some point. So if the house has been on the market for a few years, right, they're probably getting pretty desperate to sell that thing. So you might be able to get the house for not that much, right? And that's really all there is to it. And I would say that last one might be the most important because that's going to determine how much bang you get for your buck.
The next biggest asked question is, what happens after the offer is accepted? First, you want to schedule a home inspection with a certified professional. They will go and mark things that will need fixes and repairs, and you want to review this inspection report and look for things that cost a lot. The average inspection is normally around $500, and usually it's paid by the buyer. Major red flags that will cost a lot of damage will be to the structure of the house, water leaks, or electrical issues. Then you want to add up any expenses you have to do on the house before you are able to live on it. So let's say $5,000 for the structure, $10,000 for the water, and then you want to write that down and give the seller this information so you guys can negotiate a new price. Most of the times the seller will pay for the work if they have the money. Other times the buyer will have to pay for the expenses. Then you want to finalize your price after taking into account all of the expenses going into the home. And you want to review the closing disclosure before signing it. Many scams happen at this closing disclosure when people get excited and to sign. This confirms the total cost, the total loan cost, interest rates, and closing costs.
Ever wonder what happens at the closing table? I'm here to answer those questions. For starters, the closing stage can be delayed for various reasons, such as issues with appraisal and inspection, problems selling a current property, issues on the seller's side, and repairs that need to be dealt with first. The closing process can take about 30 days or longer. You need to make sure to stay in contact with your lender. Closing costs can range from 2.5% to 6% of the loan amount, depending on your loan and property. These costs can include the loan setup fee, home appraisal, credit check, title and recording fees, taxes, insurance, possibly HOA fees. There will be several people at the closing table, such as the real estate agent, mortgage loan officer, notary, the seller, and the seller's agent. You need to make sure no personal checks. There is a chance that the buyer and seller might not be at the table at the same time, due to the process being completely separately. There are certain things that you need to bring to the closing table. These are very important. You need to bring a certified check made out to the title company, which is a company that deals with legality issues. You also need your license, social security card, passport, proof of homeowners insurance, and if you are/were in the military, you're going to need your military ID. At the table, you will get copies of all the documents you signed. These include the final closing disclosure, an escrow account statement, which is a statement that shows how the money in your account is currently being used, a mortgage note, a deed of trust, the warranty deed, and the final application. You need to make sure that you take time to read and make sure every single piece of information there is correct. It is very important. The title agent or closing attorney will be present to represent the lender to protect their interests. They might suggest that you buy an owner's title insurance that protects against title defects, liens, which is a legal claim on someone's property, or other issues that may have occurred before you own the property. Buying owner's and title insurance is typically cheaper to buy at the closing table and can protect future claims against the property. If you want to be treated fairly, you can hire a personal real estate attorney to represent you. And those are important things you need to know about the closing table.
The fifth and final step are what documents and legal steps do you need to officially transfer over the ownership of the house. So you can sign those papers and say that you own a house. Title search and insurance. So you need a title company to check that the seller legally owns the property and that there are no legal claims against it. This will prevent you and the seller from future ownership arguments. Then you want to sign the deed and make sure you record it. The seller will sign the deed transferring the owner to the buyer, and this deed has to be recorded within the country's recorder's office to make this document official and legal. Loan documents and a promissory note are also needed, which I'm assuming you want to finance a house, you will need one of these. These documents will explain all of the loan terms, payment schedules, and what happens if you want to sell the house in the future. Then the lender will send the loan funds to the title company. And once all the funds are received and all the documents are verified, the home ownership has been transferred and the deal is done.
Throughout this project, we have learned the important steps it takes to buy a house after choosing one. This includes preparing your finances, figuring out an offer price, scheduling inspections and appraisals, completing the closing process, and being the official owner. Each step plays a major role in making sure that the purchase goes smoothly and legally so you don't get left in any sticky situations. The answer to our main question is that buying a house requires careful planning, communication, and organization between the buyer, seller, and lender. Taking your time and understanding how each step can help prevent mistakes and make the process flow smoothly is very important. At the start of this project, we assumed that the buyer had already chosen a home with no competition and could afford the purchase pretty easily. These assumptions helped us focus on the steps between choosing and owning a home. And based on what we found, our assumptions did make sense. Even if you have the money, you still have to follow every legal and financial step to actually own a house. Buying a home is a major milestone and one of the biggest purchases a person can make. It's not just about picking a house you like, it's about making smart decisions, checking for hidden issues, and understanding all the documents you are being asked to sign. Our final thought is that the home buying process might seem complicated, but with good preparation and the right help, anyone can do it successfully. Thank you. That being said, congratulations, because you just bought your first house.